The ultimate guide to personal growth and improving effectiveness is none other than this 1989 classic, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written by Stephen Covey. Whether you're a professional or someone looking to improve your personal life, this book offers a wealth of practical tools and mental frameworks. It's not just a simple guide to tips and tricks, it's a system of principles that helps us change ourselves from the inside out, which in turn affects the world around us. Let's dive into these 7 habits to help you better understand and apply them in your life. We begin with the first habit, being proactive. This might sound like a simple idea, but the meaning behind it is profound. Often, when faced with problems, our first reaction is to make excuses or blame external circumstances, like saying, "If my boss weren't so demanding, I'd have been promoted by now," or "The bad weather ruined my plans today." This kind of reactive mindset is something many people fall into when they encounter setbacks. Proactive people, however, think differently. Covey believes proactive individuals don't let external circumstances control them. Instead, they focus on their circle of influence, things they can actually control. This includes our attitudes, reactions, choices, and decisions. On the other hand, the circle of concern includes things we have no control over, like the weather, other people's behavior, or the economy. Effective people focus their energy on what they can change, rather than complaining about things they can't. Covey also mentions that each of us has the freedom to choose. This choice isn't just limited to actions, but also to how we respond to external stimuli. For example, when we face challenges, we can choose to play the victim and complain about how unfair life is, or we can choose to be problem solvers and actively seek solutions. In other words, proactive people don't let their emotions or environment dictate their choices. They take charge of their own lives. Covey even cites the example of Viktor Frankl, a psychologist who survived Nazi concentration camps, to illustrate this point. Frankl discovered that even in the most horrific conditions, people can choose how they respond to suffering. This freedom of choice allowed him to maintain his dignity and inner strength, even in the face of extreme adversity. So, being proactive is not just about taking action, it's about having the mental freedom to decide how we respond to life. The second habit is to begin with the end in mind, and this is one of Covey's most emphasized habits. The core of this habit is to be goal-oriented. Before you start anything, you need to have a clear vision of what you want to achieve. It's not just about setting goals, it's about having a clear understanding of the final outcome in every decision you make, both in life and work. Covey explains that everything in life is created twice, first in the mind and then in reality. The first creation is the mental work, planning and visualizing what you want to achieve. The second creation is the physical execution of that vision. For example, before an architect builds a house, they first draft the blueprint, which is the first creation. Then, construction workers follow that blueprint to build the actual house, which is the second creation. The same logic applies to life. If we don't have a clear blueprint for our lives, we'll drift aimlessly, going wherever life takes us. The key to beginning with the end in mind is to define your core values and life goals. Covey suggests writing a personal mission statement, which will help guide you through life's complex decisions. You can ask yourself questions like, how do I want to be remembered at the end of my life? Or, what kind of person do I want to become? Or, what do I truly value? Beginning with the end in mind isn't just about setting goals, it's about ensuring that your daily actions align with your deepest values. This alignment helps you stay focused on long-term success, even when short-term distractions pop up. Covey mentions that many people are busy, but they often feel a lack of true accomplishment. That's because they haven't clearly defined their life's purpose. If we begin with the end in mind, we can make sure that every step we take is moving us toward our desired destination. The third habit is to put first things first. This habit is closely related to time management, but it's not just about squeezing more time out of your day. It's about focusing on what truly matters in the limited time you have. Covey introduces the time management matrix, which categorizes tasks into 4 quadrants: important and urgent, important but not urgent, not important but urgent, and not important and not urgent. Most people spend their days dealing with urgent tasks, like responding to emails, attending meetings, or solving immediate problems. These tasks fall into the first quadrant. However, highly effective people deliberately spend more time in the second quadrant, things that are important but not urgent. These activities include setting long-term goals, building relationships, learning new skills, and maintaining your health. While these tasks aren't pressing, they are vital for long-term success. The challenge with putting first things first is that we often get caught up in day-to-day tasks and ignore the things that truly bring long-term benefits. Covey reminds us that we need to learn to say no to unimportant things so that we can make time for what really matters. Putting first things first doesn't mean ignoring urgent matters, but rather finding a balance that ensures important things aren't overshadowed by urgent, less meaningful tasks. Additionally, Covey emphasizes that putting first things first is a reflection of self-management. We need to organize our days and weeks based on our long-term goals and personal mission statements. For example, you can plan your week by listing your most important goals and scheduling them first. This way, you ensure that your daily actions are aligned with your long-term vision rather than being driven by trivial, urgent tasks. Next is the fourth habit: think win-win. This habit reflects our basic attitude toward relationships. Covey believes that in today's competitive world, many people adopt a win-lose mentality. They think that in order for them to win, someone else has to lose. And if someone else wins, it means they've lost. This kind of thinking leads to strained relationships and endless competition. Thinking win-win, on the other hand, is about cooperation, not competition. Win-win thinkers believe success is not a limited resource. Someone else's win doesn't mean a loss for you. Instead, through collaboration, both parties can win. Covey gives a simple example. In business negotiations, many people believe they need to secure the maximum benefit for themselves with little regard for the other side. But truly, effective negotiators look for solutions where both sides can benefit, because they know that only mutually satisfying outcomes lead to long-term partnerships. Win-win thinking isn't just for the workplace, it applies to relationships with family and friends too. For instance, in family life, couples often have conflicts over chores or raising children. A win-lose mentality could lead to conflict and resentment, but a win-win mindset encourages both partners to find mutually beneficial solutions that meet each other's needs while maintaining harmony. To adopt a win-win mindset, we first need to be confident and secure in ourselves. Only when we believe that the world is full of opportunities will we stop feeling threatened by other people's success. We don't need to diminish others to prove our worth. Instead, we can achieve greater success through collaboration and mutual gain. The fifth habit is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. The essence of this habit is effective communication, and the first step in effective communication is listening. Covey points out that many of us don't really know how to listen. We often start preparing our response while the other person is still talking, or we might even interrupt them, eager to offer advice or judgment. Covey calls this kind of listening autobiographical listening, meaning we listen from our own perspective rather than truly trying to understand the other person. Truly effective communication requires what Covey calls empathic listening, which means putting yourself in the other person's shoes and trying to understand their thoughts and feelings. Empathic listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding the emotional context behind them. You listen not just with your ears, but with your body language and tone of voice to truly hear what the other person is going through. This deep level of listening helps the other person feel understood and respected, which in turn builds trust and opens the door to more meaningful communication. The second part of this habit is expressing yourself. After you've taken the time to understand the other person, it's important to clearly and respectfully communicate your own thoughts and feelings. This kind of communication isn't about emotional outbursts. It's about sharing your perspective based on mutual respect and trust. Covey believes that when we first seek to understand others, we create the conditions for them to understand us in return. This habit is crucial in both professional and personal settings, especially when resolving conflicts or building strong relationships. Habit 6 is to synergize, which can be understood as creative collaboration. The core idea here is that 1 plus 1 is to more than 2, meaning that through teamwork, we can achieve results far greater than what individuals can accomplish alone. Covey believes that true teamwork isn't just about dividing work among people, it's about leveraging the differences between individuals to spark innovation and creativity, solving problems that no one person could solve alone. The foundation of synergy is valuing differences. In any team, people come from different backgrounds with different experiences and viewpoints. These differences are often seen as obstacles to collaboration, but Covey argues that they are precisely where creativity comes from. If we can respect and harness these differences, we can create solutions that are far more innovative. For example, imagine a team with one member who is detail-oriented and another who is highly creative but less focused on details. If they can work together, the detail-oriented person can ensure accuracy, while the creative person can come up with fresh ideas. This complementary teamwork leads to much higher overall effectiveness. Synergy isn't just for teams in the workplace, it can also apply to family life. In families, partners and children often have different opinions and needs. By respecting these differences and finding common ground through open communication, family life can become more harmonious and fulfilling. The final habit is to sharpen the saw, which is the key to maintaining high effectiveness. Covey uses the metaphor of sharpening the saw to explain the importance of self-renewal. He says, sharpening the saw means you take the time to renew and refresh yourself, so you don't wear yourself out. The core of sharpening the saw is self-improvement, and it applies to 4 dimensions of our lives: physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual. Physical renewal includes eating healthy, exercising regularly, and getting enough rest. Spiritual renewal can come from meditation, reading inspiring books, or spending time in nature. Mental renewal is achieved through continuous learning, thinking critically, and writing. Social emotional renewal comes from building and maintaining strong relationships, which gives us emotional security. Covey reminds us not to get so caught up in life's busyness that we neglect our own well-being. If you're feeling burned out, it's likely because you've been neglecting one of these areas. Only when we balance these 4 dimensions can we maintain long-term effectiveness. These 7 habits from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People form a complete system of thinking and acting, from being proactive to constant renewal. By adopting these habits, we can change ourselves from the inside out, increase our personal effectiveness, and improve our relationships with others. I hope today's discussion has inspired you, and I'll see you next time.